What up? You're tuned into the Stitch Sham Show. I am one half Sham Phoenix.
I am the other half, Stitch Early.
And today we are talking about cinema.
Yes.
You guys know that me and Stitch are like heavy in cinema. We always watch, especially during the pandemic. That's basically like 90% of my life is watching movies.
Facts. I be watching movies that I didn't even know that I wanted to watch.
You know what I watched?
What?
That I thought was like, I got to give Shia LaBeouf his credit. I know we just jumping out the gate. Peanut Butter Falcon is amazing.
Okay, so I need to watch that. All right.
It is one, and I didn't know that it was based on a Mark Twain book. I didn't know that, but it's amazing. It's a really good movie.
I haven't seen that. The one joint on Amazon that I did watch was Bliss.
Okay, I seen that too. I haven't seen it.
It's good. It's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
But I think the movie, when I watched it, it's one of those movies that you watch and at the end of it, you might look and be like, I think it's for everyone to get their own interpretation from. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those types of joints. Yeah, okay. So I did watch that.
Yeah, that was a dope joint. But the one that I know we came here to talk about.
The crescendo.
So Coming to America is my favorite movie.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
Right underneath that is Rush Hour 1 and Rush Hour 2. I know people for anywhere in the 90s where Chris Tucker was making a movie.
Chris Tucker couldn't miss.
Because he's hilarious in movie form.
Yeah.
I'm not too big on his stand-up, but him in a movie is amazing.
Yeah.
So I was really Coming to America is the top for me. It's like you can't do no better than that.
All right.
So as you know, on March 5th, the sequel. Well, how many years in between?
It's like 30.
Like almost 30 some years, right? Almost 30 some years in between the first Coming to America. Yeah. Coming to America 2 came out last night. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a great movie. Mm-hmm. I thought it didn't surpass the first one, but it didn't like fall deeply under the first one.
Yeah, so like in watching it, so I watched it twice.
Okay.
So in watching it, I had to take out, it's almost like when Bad Boys 2 came out.
Yes.
I had to take out, because I watch movies, it almost is a gift and a curse. So like Bad Boys 2, because of the type of cameras and things that they were using in Bad Boys 1, by Bad Boys 2, like it's more clear, like everything, the visual. So I had to take that out of my mind and remember like, okay, this movie was made in the 80s. So it's not going to look visually.
No, it's not going to look like.
They're not going to look alike.
Definitely not.
So, and then the other thing that I had to put at the forefront of my mind was there was never supposed to be a sequel to Coming to America.
Nah.
Like Coming to America was never supposed to have a sequel.
But this is the thing though. Whenever I watch the original movie, I always wish there was.
No, yeah. And so what I mean is when the movie was scripted, like there was never like, oh, there's going to be another one of these.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't written with the director in mind.
Of going in that direction.
No, this is where we would go with the second one. So I had to keep that in mind too. So for them to create a script that was never supposed to be created, I felt that the storyline and things like that, it made sense. Like it made sense. And I just had to take, like I said, sometimes you have to take out of your mind, like, the things that you knew would happen. Like there were things that I knew would happen. There's always going to be call to actions, like where the gorilla ball sweat joint that was to the rhinoceros pizzle. Like you know what I'm saying. So there's always going to be call to actions that make you go, oh the McDowells, like certain things that you knew were going to be call to actions. So my thing was I was like, if I watch Coming to America 2 and I'm not disappointed, then I think it was a good movie.
And it found its pockets.
Yeah.
Like there was pockets where I was like, there's small cringeworthy pockets. They weren't long drawn out.
And that I was glad about that. I was glad that like the parts where I was like, it wasn't long enough for it to ruin the movie for me. Because the
like,
parts,
boom, okay, then you jump to the
parts that were good.
Oh man.
Like were good.
Yeah.
Like did I really want to see like the sun rap when
I
didn't really want to see that.
Tiana Taylor looked great by the way.
Facts. Like
Absolutely
I didn't want to see that. But did I want to see You know, like I seen where the build up with him and the hairstylist, like, you know what I mean? I kind of, cause they kept kind of like that same, it's going to be different. So they kept things the same. So I can say that watching it, I was not mad at it.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. I was telling Kia while we were watching the movie, I don't know if she heard me because she kept falling asleep. But
same problem.
Yeah.
Twice.
And I'm going to say it because
that's why I watched it twice.
I told her I'm going to roast you.
That's
I'm
why
going
I
to roast
watched
you for
it,
doing that.
I watched it twice.
Yeah.
Because we watched it the first time.
Yeah.
I watched it the first time.
So I'm going to tell you how we shaped the landscape, because we were texting prior to me watching it. And that's why I went zero dark 30 for that long period of time. I got pizza, wings, some fries, and probably around like 7:00, everybody came downstairs to the living room and we all watched it together.
Okay, got you.
On the sectional. So we were sitting and I was like, all right, man, we about to watch this movie. Everybody seemed excited.
Yeah.
And then my mom she ate them wings and started falling asleep. And kids started falling. So the only people that were up were me, Malik, and Kimara. We were the only ones watching the movie. Yeah. So I leaned over to my wife and was just like, I don't know if she heard me, but I was like, black women are made for cinema, for film.
Yeah.
Like black women age so well that you can have a long-standing situation as far as like TV series and things. Yeah. And like they can look like Lisa looked like Lisa.
Not facts.
From the first one.
So like black don't crack in most instances.
Yes.
There are some instances where black be cracking. Yes. But for the most part, like everyone looked like they had majority of the original cast.
Like Louis got some juice in him.
And Louis, the good thing is because he does, I think he does Baskets on, it's a show on FX.
Oh, okay.
That he's in called Baskets. But yeah, so he's still like relevant. Within, you know what I'm saying, the time and stuff. But yeah, and so I was glad that they brought back a lot of the cast. And then there were just things that you knew, like I said, it's not a movie that you go into. It is what it is type of movie. Yeah. It's not like I'm not watching Coming to America 2 looking for what I was looking for when I watched Tenet. Like when I watched Tenet. Like
that's not that.
You're not going into
a comedy.
It's a comedy.
It's going to be overdrawn. It's going to be
you want the dramatics. You want I think Leslie is Leslie Jones?
Yes.
I think she did a good job. They did a great job of showing her in the past, like showing her in the club. Yeah. They did a good job of that. So so I felt that all in all, like I don't want part 3.
No, I'm good.
Don't give me part 3. If y'all give me,
I will say this: if they can shift this, I think they should shift the story to the oldest daughter. If they do that,
if they did part 3,
it's got to be around her because she did a great job.
I think it would have to be a combination of her and they would have to almost do like Lil Fockers.
Okay.
Like you remember they did Meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
Then it was Meet the Parents.
Yeah.
Then they had Meet the Fockers, so you got to meet the other side. And then they did Little Fockers, which was where they brought they had kids now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That would be dope.
So then if they did it that way where it wasn't so much based on the premise of the first one. Yeah. I feel if they did a third one, it could be not tied.
I think it'd be dope if they had like the older daughter fall in love with an American dude.
And to where she's coming, you know what I'm saying?
Like that I could
and she could go to like Kings County.
Yeah.
And
like be a brown somewhere crazy, right?
Find her a youngin' out that joint.
So I was really happy that it was good.
Yeah, I was too. I was glad. That's what I was happy that when I watched it because I was like, man, I just don't want it to be bad.
I know.
Like I just don't want it to be bad.
Because it's so close to that movie is so close to my I watch it all the time.
Yeah, I just didn't want I was like, man, it was almost like I said with Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys, the first Bad Boys is so tough to me. Yeah. There's so many moments and so many scenes in Bad Boys. Like when the Porsche is going through the walls at the airport, it's one of my favorite joints. And I was like, please don't mess this up. Yeah. Like, please don't mess this up.
Like so even Bad Boys 3, Bad Boys 3 I like.
Yeah, really Bad Boys 3 I like. Like I think in order it's Bad Boys 3 is the third.
Yeah.
The second one is the second one. The first is the best one.
They all stand alone.
Yeah. It's rare for a part 2 to outdo a part 1.
Like Friday. All those Fridays stand alone. They don't compete against each other.
So because it's
their own entities.
It's definitely hard. Like none of the Fridays will ever be Friday 1.
No.
Because you'll never get Chris Tucker.
But I can watch all of them.
But you can watch all of them. Yeah. So it's definitely that. So that was one.
Yeah.
So there was a documentary that I started watching. Allen versus Farrow. It's about Woody Allen. So I don't know.
And his ex-wife. This is what I be saying about Woody Allen. America has let him skate by.
Hey, Woody Allen
for a couple years, man.
His name should be Woody Wildin'.
Yeah.
Like Woody Allen.
That guy's off the chain, bro.
Son. So like I knew
because the stories from his wife are alleged with the daughters.
But on the documentary, you have the daughter. The daughter
she says it?
The daughter who it was done to. So you have the Asian daughter that was adopted.
Yeah.
So she was married, I think, 2 times before she met Woody Allen.
Yeah.
She, in those 2 marriages, she had a set of twins, 1 child, and then she had, they adopted 2 kids. She then she wanted to adopt like a teenage kid. So this was the one that Woody Allen is with now.
Is married to now.
Yes. When she met Woody Allen was like, I'm not really into kids. I don't want to be around no kids. Yeah. So I'm going to have my place over here. You can be there with your kids. And we can still date and stuff like that. I just won't be at your crib because I don't want to be around kids.
All right.
And then he finally agrees to have kids with her. And they can't get pregnant. So she wants to adopt. And he's like, well, I want it to be a blonde girl if we adopt. I want it to be I want our baby to be a blonde daughter. I want to have a blonde daughter or whatever. This is from like what it's saying in the joint. So they adopt. He ends up having like a strong take. I have a daughter. I understand the father-daughter. Like his strong taking was different than mine.
Okay.
Different strong taking. And so you just see, and then one thing I didn't realize, like I've seen some Woody Allen movies, but like they were making a point that like a lot of his movies, even if it's not the overall premise, a lot of his movies have to deal with an older man trying to get the attention of a younger woman. And not younger woman like 40 and 25 or something. Yeah. Like 40 and 17. Yeah. 40, 16, 40, 18. A lot of his movies fall around the premise of that. And so, so like they were talking, I guess one of the writers, he was like, when he would come up with concepts, it would be like, so it's like a dude and he's in love with like a 20-year-old. And he'd be like, nah, not a 20-year-old. Like, let's make her 18. Like, so it's a little weird. And then he would it was one movie where I forget the lady that was speaking about it, but in the documentary, she talks about how he would do stuff in film to almost make you okay with the idea of it. Yeah. So like in the one particular film, it's like him, a guy, and another girl. They're all like 40s and up. Yeah. And then there's a 17-year-old girl in the film. And this 17-year-old girl, I guess, is like a student of his, but she likes him. Yeah. So throughout the movie, you see him going like, no, I could never. You're 17. And you see her pushing the issue. Like, that's not a problem. Like 17, age is nothing but a number. Like, cool. Yeah. So it's only been 2 episodes, but watching that, I was like, yo.
Because from the stuff that I read, I heard that the wife, that there could be some fabrication.
I could
the wife's story.
I can see that, but some of the stuff was like recordings of his voice.
Okay.
Like, so I guess at one point after it came out that him and the daughter were together, he was taping their conversations. So her son was like, well, you need to tape the conversations. Yeah. So she's playing conversations of them talking and her saying like, yo, if I put it out there that you had sex with our daughter, like with our, adopted, and then he's like, I wouldn't call it that. Like, you can't put it out there like that. Like, I would refute it. And there's conversations of like him and her talking on the phone, like going back and forth. Yeah, he was wild.
Okay. Yeah, I know, like when all that stuff was happening with like Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby and stuff, because I know about Woody Allen and the stuff that he was doing, I was like, Why they not talking about this dude? Why
they got Bill up out of here. They got Bill up out of here. Bill up out
Bill
here.
in jail. Harvey, we don't know. I ain't know what they did with Harvey.
I don't know what they did with Harvey. I know he tried to. I think he did. I think he did get locked. I think he tried to play like he was. I guess like needed a heart surgery.
Well,
or something.
Woody been getting away with it for a minute.
Woody been wilding. Like that joint. Seeing that, I was like, and like you said, allegedly, like I don't know none of them. So, but to see it and like having kids, I was just
probably like mad cringeworthy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was just like, what? Like, why would you even be in that position with your child? Like, but that was another one.
Did you see the United States versus Billie Holiday?
Yes.
Okay. So let me start off. Okay, Andrea Day is a brilliant actress.
Yeah, she killed that joint.
She killed it.
Yeah, she killed
this.
That
This is where my gripe comes in. I feel like in Hollywood they only give awards to black women when they get naked.
Halle Berry.
That's just how I feel. I don't know if I can back that up factually, but it just feels like we're only going to recognize you if you do seductive things on camera. Her performance alone could have warranted the Golden Globe by itself.
Facts, 1000%.
She killed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely killed it.
She did. While I was watching it, that's what I was saying. I was like, yo.
And even though and this is the other perspective that people have to understand. Lee Daniels is a
homosexual male?
Not just being homosexual.
Oh, okay.
He is a proponent of extreme, outlandish drama.
Oh, facts.
Like if you see
Empire,
Star,
it's gonna be
it's the excess of drama, right?
Yeah.
So because he was the director of this film, that's what you were going to get. You were going to get the extreme version of drama. I didn't
know that he was the director of the film.
Yeah.
So as I'm watching the film, I just felt that it was kind of all over the place.
It was
and so I'm the person that when I watched before I watched the Fred Hampton movie, I watched Fred Hampton speeches. Like I want to make sure you sounding like him.
Yeah.
If you're not, you know what I mean? I want to see what the historical facts are behind this film. And so did that same thing with this one, like looking at the historical facts and then seeing, of course, just like in the Fred Hampton joint, there's characters that aren't really characters. It's made up to pull the story together. Yes. But the overarching like storyline is that. And it's just that I felt that she was so much more than like drugs and men.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
she was.
I feel that she was. Do I feel that was probably a part of her? Yeah. But I feel that she was way much more than just like, I feel the movie was like, it almost could have just been a drama where it was just like, oh, we're going to do some drugs. We're going to have men around and we'll throw some singing in between.
But if you look at the artistry of Lee Daniels, that fit.
No facts. It was like it was basically like they dropped her into Empire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is all that needed to happen was for Lucius to pop up.
Yep, and
and Cookie.
Yeah.
Like come around the corner and it was
definitely to me it reminded me of the premise of Star.
Yeah, like
just
so it wasn't something that I watched and was like her, like I said, her acting.
Oh, top
her acting was on point. And then I'm a fan of the dude that played the undercover officer.
I know he played.
I can't remember his name.
Jimmy Spencer.
Yeah. Like I'm a fan of his.
I don't know what his real name is.
Yeah, he was in Moonlight. Like he's been in a few other movies. You know what I mean. So I'm a fan of his just as an actor. But yeah, I guess I just didn't like the plot, how it was put together. It just seemed very like all over the place.
Andrea Day's performance carried the film.
Yeah.
If she wasn't a great actress, the film would have been gone.
It would have been Because while I was watching it, it was outside of when she got into her bag. When she got into her bag, it was like, oh, all right.
It's so much so that I was like, I can't wait to see her in a film that doesn't have Lee Daniels anything to do with where she can really show her thing.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't again, I don't know what Billie Holiday was like. I'm not from the 1930s. So I don't know. But Like I've listened to Billie Holiday's music. I never knew what Billie Holiday sound like or talk like.
I know about Strange Fruit.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? We know about those things.
Watching the film, I knew that whatever Andre Day was doing, she crushed it.
Yeah. That was the one thing I took was like, yo.
But the other thing I think people have to realize too is if we're talking about the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, it wasn't a highlight era for women either.
Nah, facts. Yeah,
like women were being treated just as Billie Holiday was being treated. Like they didn't even have, there was no rights to vote. Some of them couldn't even work.
Yeah, and I feel like they tapped into her past like a little bit. Yeah. But it's almost the thing that
after Jimmy, because this is gonna be a spoiler alert. So if you're watching this and you haven't seen it,
we're just telling you about
we're gonna talk about this movie.
They tapped into it slightly, but it's like it was one of the things that I liked about Ray is like certain things would happen, and then they would tie in. They would tie in like, oh, that's why. It took them a minute to get to that point to where.
Do you remember when Jimmy Spencer took the heroin, right? And then that's when they went into the montage of her past life. Yeah, I think people because I know a lot of people didn't catch it. Yeah, but she started being a prostitute at 10 years old.
Yeah, that's because her mom was like, "Yo, you gotta bring money in this house."
So when people were like, "Oh, this is just about toxic men," I was like, unfortunately, and from what she has experienced, sex doesn't mean anything to her.
And that was my thing. I feel that they could have did a better job of showing that, more or less, and not necessarily showing, what happened, but showing, like, really putting the writing on the wall and not making it such like so vague, because it was quick. It was like you had to hear her mom say that and then go. You had to make up your own storyline of, so this is why this is this and this and this. Yeah. Whereas in, like I say, in Ray, they did a good job. Like, they showed it to you.
Here's Ray.
Ray. Oh, so that's why he was at. Yeah. That's why he moved like that. That's why he did what he did. Yeah. Like
Ray will always be the quintessential biopic.
Yeah.
For life.
And the same thing with Malcolm X. Yeah. Malcolm X, they did that. Malcolm X, they would show, so we're going to show you the past first. Yeah. To show how we get to the present. Yes. Like, so now when we're in the present, we're like, oh man, so he know him from back then. When he sees Spike Lee's character and he's like, oh, you understand the connections and things like that. I just feel with this one, it was just like if you took a bouncing ball and just threw it and let it bounce around the room.
Yeah, that's what it is. It was like that. It definitely was like that.
It wasn't like a free throw where you like, okay, he's dribbling. Yeah. He's going to shoot.
Because even after remember, like, they stopped the bus and she looked like, I don't know if she was going to shoot up heroin in the middle of the cornfield.
Okay, yeah.
Or she was going to pee. I don't know what.
Yeah, I think she had to use the bathroom.
Yeah. So, and she seen the person hanging and then it went into this artful montage. And then came out, she was on stage. It was like, nigga, what just happened?
It was like, what did that have to do with that?
She's falling all over people's houses and she don't even know? Like, what are we doing here?
And I that was the thing for me. It was just like, okay. It was like, it could have been, I feel that the actors that they got did well.
Perfect.
Like,
everyone did well.
I just feel that the storyline was not great. All the great actors and have a storyline that's
but Lee Daniels is like that. Daniels' work
when I saw at the end that's who did it, I was like, okay.
His work is like
this
that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, and that's the unfortunate thing because I'm not a big Lee Daniels fan.
Yeah. Because did he have something to do with Precious?
Did he? I think he did.
Yeah, because Precious, I can't stand Precious. I can't stand that movie.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did direct that.
I cannot stand that movie.
That's why him and what's name was beefing. Because he shot that movie.
Okay.
That's why him and Monique was not only Monique, but that's why him and Dame Dash were beefing.
But see, and
Dame Dash fronted him the money.
And that's the
movie.
same thing with that movie. Monique did an amazing job. I hated Monique's guts in that movie, which I was supposed to. Yeah. She did an amazing job, but the movie was not good. Yeah. It was not good. And that's how when I was watching this, I was like, you are killing it right now. But why? How did we get to where we're at?
So I think if I hate saying like something was not tasteful. Mm-hmm. Like my favorite movie of the year is Selvy's Love.
Yeah, Selvy's Love is.
I mean, amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah, Selvy's Love.
Like when you talk about beautiful film. Yeah, that's a beautiful film. Nah, I wish that they would have taken that.
So. Case in point, Selvy's Love. Selvy's Love, you see the good, you see the bad, you see the great, you see the happy, you see the it had a lot of everything, so it made it realistic. Yeah, it made it realistic. Even like a movie that I won't watch again is Malcolm and Marie.
Yeah. I can't.
But it was a great movie. It depicted what an argument is. 2 hours of screaming back and forth, randomness, love about you, I hate you, I'm out eating mac and cheese.
And people who have never been because I kept seeing there were critics that didn't like it, and then there were critics that did. And I always said, man, I wish I could see the relationship status of the people that didn't like it, opposed to the people that did like it.
Because you might not be able to relate.
You might not be able to relate.
And watching it, I was like,
I've been in a 3-hour argument.
Yeah.
Where we've been good, not good, horrible.
Where I done brought stuff back up because hold up.
Came back to it.
Did you realize you just said?
2 hours later, I've been sitting and processing on it did she just call me mediocre?
Exactly.
Now what did you mean by? I've definitely
let me tell you about yourself.
Yeah, I've definitely had a bunch of what do you mean by?
Yeah, that's what it. And so that's I don't want to watch it again just because argument's not fun. No. But I'm watching it. I was like, man, I can relate to this. Yes. It's relatable. The acting was good. Storyline, you get to find the premise of everything. They let you know why they were feeling how they were feeling. Yeah. And I just didn't feel that one particularly did that. You know what I'm saying?
And I personally, I don't think that Malcolm and Marie was a great film. I think that's another thing where the actors did a great job of carrying a storyline that's really kind of
it's a typical y'all in an argument. Yeah, it's like the movie is that it's an argument.
But this is the other thing, right? Here in 2020 or 2021, I think we've seen almost all the story plots.
Yeah.
There's not too many story plots or storylines you can create that are outside of the norm. Mm-hmm. That create.
So it's definitely a thing where now it's basically the thing that I did like about Malcolm and Marie is I haven't seen someone do that though.
Okay.
I've seen arguments in a film. Yeah. But I can't tell you a film that I watched
it was based around the argument.
Was based around the argument. Yeah. And I think that was the cool thing about it is because now most of the time when I watch films, I'm like, oh, I've seen this premise. There's a movie on HBO Max. Man, what is his name? He played Martin Luther King in Selma, but he's in it, and it's one of those movies where he lives the same day over and over.
I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of his name.
I forget, but in the movie, he lives the same day over and over again, and his family got murdered, and he's trying to figure out how to stop that from happening. Yeah. Last night I watched a movie on Hulu. Yeah. The dude he's in the Captain America movies. He's like the villain in Captain America movies. But in the movie it's the same thing. He's living over, but they flipped it in a different way. It's one of those cheesy action movies. Yeah. But they flipped him living over and over again in a different way to where it's oh, y'all did the same thing, but y'all did it differently. Because it's just reworking the wheel. That's all it is.
What else? I watched The Last King of Staten Island. I watched that. That was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. With
Pete
Davidson.
Yeah, Pete Davidson.
Yeah, that was good.
Pretty good. That was all right.
That was
pretty
good.
solid.
That was good. Yeah. The Biggie Doc.
Oh, that was brilliant.
Biggie Doc was amazing.
Biggie Doc was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was the first time that I seen somebody actually do it right.
So watching the Biggie Doc, I feel that Lee Daniels should have watched the Biggie Doc before he shot the film, because in the Biggie Doc they show some before, but they show oh, so this is why he got to this point. Is why he was selling drugs. This is why he rapped. This is why you get to see the this is whys. Yeah. Instead of it just being oh, this is just a bunch of stuff that I already knew. Yeah. We just gonna talk about him with Faith and him with Lil Kim and him with Pac. We're gonna do that again. This was the total opposite of that. The total opposite.
Talking about documentaries, I don't know if I think we probably left this off of Mikes and Men.
Did I see that one?
WuTang.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my favorite part in that documentary. The whole documentary is great. When they was in the theater? But when they were in the theater and they were talking about
the WuTang Forever joint,
and Meth I wasn't rocking with that that joint. And you see RZA
he ate it though.
And then Power is sitting there and Power is yo, me neither.
Yeah, I ain't like that joint,
just Man. All right, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so ODB.
Yeah, ODB, man. He was a great rapper.
Nah,
that series was amazing. And then the thing that I love about it is they didn't mind being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. They talked about everything. They put everything out on the table. And it really highlighted everyone. It was just all around great documentary.
Have you watched the show?
No, I think I did back when it was out. Okay. But I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch the show. Because the show is like loosely based. Like there's truths, but it's fiction. It's fiction. Yeah. But there's like super truths. So like I know the second season is gonna focus on the recording of the 36 chambers. Okay. So like that's what the second season is gonna
But I think it's so dope because the plan that RZA had worked like to a T.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it shows like the power of artistry and when you lay the groundwork first, right? Because most artists don't really do that.
Nah.
And most artists weren't doing that prior to like a certain amount of groups.
Yeah.
You have like the Public Enemies and EPMDs who were kind of already had their thing kind of laid out before they went somewhere. The NWAs. Like it shows you the power of that. Like as an artist, laying your foundation first and then bringing what you've done. And like I don't really need you, but in order to put people in position, I'll take whatever you have to offer, so that we can make a better position.
Yeah,
so
that joint was
that was really dope. And then that led me to they have a Motown documentary.
Okay, I haven't seen that one
on Showtime. That is like absolutely brilliant. Okay. It's narrated by Berry Gordy and Smokey Robinson.
Okay,
and it's really about how like he was working for Ford and he was saying, I took that Ford model of building cars and put it into how you build a record label. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know this, but Berry Gordy and Smokey Robinson are like best friends.
Okay.
Like super best friends. Mm-hmm. And it's like whenever you watch something that makes you happy.
Nah, I feel you.
Because that Motown music
I think great. Especially when you find, I like watching documentaries and like finding out stuff.
Yes.
That like I didn't know.
Yes.
So like, for instance, like with the WuTang joint, I didn't know about Ghost. So in the show, Ghostface brother and his two brothers, I don't know exactly what disorder or whatever they had, but I know it caused them to where they can't walk.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like cerebral palsy. I don't know exactly what it is.
Hold on. When you say the show, are you talking about the show, the movie? Are you talking about? Did I see
the WuTang?
The WuTang.
The WuTang television show on Hulu.
Yes, I seen that. I thought you were talking about
the movie,
the show. I was like,
the movie, the show is tough too.
It was super.
Yeah, the movie,
but they're in that, aren't they?
Yeah, the movie because Method Man and the Bread and Meth.
Yeah, are in that. So like, I know the WuTang has so I thought you were talking about that, and I was like, let me clarify before I keep nodding my head.
On the show, it shows like
yes.
And then so when I watched the documentary, it was like,
confirmed it.
Yo, that's true. Oh, that's crazy.
I was like, yo, both of my brothers are in wheelchairs.
I was like, yo, that's wild. And so it gives you a different understanding, like we were talking about earlier. Like a lot of times people will look at a person's situation like, oh, why would you join a gang, or why would you sell drugs, or why would you do? And you come to find out in some people's lives, like some things weren't a choice, so to speak. Everything is a choice, but it's like if I grow up in a Crip neighborhood and my parents are both Crips, I'm a Crip.
or this situation, right? Like I grew up in a neighborhood. And the only people I see with the means that I need to survive are gang members and drug dealers.
I'm going to go towards the thing that I need to survive.
I was starving.
Exactly.
And the drug dealers I see on the corner, they got cars and gold jewelry.
And he grabbed me up.
I know they eating.
Yeah, he grabbed me up. And you see it in all realms, even in what's the one joint? Is it a Bronx Tale?
Yeah.
Like in a Bronx Tale with Cologio, like he sees his dad go to work every day. And then he see the dudes on the corner and he's like, yo, these dudes got suits on. They dress nice. My dad dressed bummy. He be on the bus all day. He come home tired.
I don't want that.
I don't want that. Like, I'm going over here. The working man is a sucker. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and he didn't say it based off of what he was taught. It was like, no, this is just what I see.
And for me, it was a total opposite. I started running into people who were doing really well by working really hard.
Yeah.
Like, the influence of your dad on my life.
Yeah.
I always say Larry G. Like Larry G wasn't the richest dude, but whenever I seen Larry, he he never looked like he was sad or unhappy. Like he enjoyed spending time with his daughters and his son. Like I fed off of people like that. Like
it was almost like seeing the opposite.
Yeah.
So it's like for me, with my dad being there, like my dad was in the military, and I was like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. I know that for a fact. But then having like my uncle was killed when I was 2. Like my uncle was killed in a bad drug deal.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So knowing that, growing up and seeing all of those things and knowing, I was like, okay, I know that that's not the route that I want to go. Like my uncle and everything that a drug dealer had, I was just going through pictures last night. He had all of the pictures with my Uncle Ali.
Gold out.
Wrist, neck full of gold. Like he looked like Amigo. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like out this joint killing it.
Yeah.
But I knew that wasn't the route for me. And then all of the dudes that I knew that sold drugs at one point or another. When I moved to Japan, it was calls from my grandmother. Oh yeah, such and such just got killed.
Yeah.
Such and such just died. So it was like, yeah, I don't think that's what I want. Yeah. And then I would see, like you said, seeing other guys, seeing my dad and people like that who was hardworking. Like I remember when we first moved here, he was working at Burlington while he was in the military. So he would get off, go to Burlington. So it's like I'm seeing a person work hard, but I'm also seeing the person work hard and I'm seeing them come up. I'm seeing them go from the white Bronco to the Jaguar to the Range. Us when we moved here, you remember when we moved here?
Yeah, y'all had that Honda.
We had the Honda, and we lived in that Honda for a few weeks.
Where the seatbelt came down for you.
Exactly. We lived in a one-bedroom apartment. So I got to see a person work hard and see, like, literally when we moved here, I had to walk to Fort Detrick.
Yeah.
We used to drive to New York on the weekends because we ain't had nowhere to stay. I would come back on Mondays. I would wash up at my mom's job just to go walk to the bus and get on a bus. Nobody at school knew, like, yo, you ain't got no house. Like, I'm in a car. I'm in a two-door,
and that's why I say,
apartment.
Like, I get to champion that. Like, I got to watch your parents on the come up, and then for me, like being a young married dude, to be like, okay, so you might go through a couple broke years, but if you can get it together, if you can find,
you could eventually
move up. And like that has been the highlight for me, and because of that, I've been able to figure things out like that. You know what I mean?
And I just don't know any. I don't know any drug dealers that I've known that is like, yo, he prospering crazy. Like he just out here like getting it.
Yeah.
But all of the people that I know,
there might be one or two, but I ain't gonna mention them because I don't be no snitch.
Exactly. And so but the dudes that I know that may have even lived that life and transitioned over to I could go about it a different way.
Yeah.
I see them doing better when they went about it the different way than what they was doing when they was doing it. They not in and out of jail. Yeah. They around their families. They able to, you know what I mean? So when you see those types of things, I think that be the thing that's dope to me when I see people, even within my family, people I'm connected to, where it's like, yo, I know what you used to do.
Yeah.
And now I see what you do now, and you look much more happy. You look more healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You look like you're moving in a better space than you was when you was getting quick money, but the money was also leaving quick.
Yeah.
And you had your life on the line. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So seeing those types of things, it even gave a better understanding, like with Big.
Yeah.
Where seeing that it was circumstantial, it wasn't a thing of like, oh, he poor, or you know what I'm saying? He don't got the, it's like, nah, sometimes the people you're around will dictate where you move. You know what I mean? So
and you gotta think about his best friend is the Big O was his family basically
family was the ones bringing it in.
Was running the drug scene in New York, basically.
And that's his
like
one of the families
running the drug scene in New York. So it's like, of course you would get into it if the person that you are directly connected to.
If when I met you,
I'm selling cocaine.
You were selling cocaine.
You probably be selling
cocaine. And I'm hanging out with you all the time. You think I'm not going to be like,
man, you got a lot of money.
You need some help? You need some help bagging?
I mean, like, you know something.
Like
I get paid doing something.
I understand it. Yeah. Like I could understand. I get it. You know,
like when we, like for instance, like when we met, both of our families were poor.
Yeah, both our parents. We wasn't. It wasn't what it is today.
No, it's definitely not what it is today.
Definitely not. Like literally, we
were rubbing nickels together.
One car, walking everywhere.
Yes.
Like my mom was walking to work.
Like, maybe some money sometimes.
Exactly.
Like we wasn't going out for dinner.
I had a budget for school. Yeah. And that joint was like $100. Like we had to go to New York to shop. Like I shopped for clothes at the Coliseum. in New York because it was like, yo, you could get the two pair of jeans for 25. You can get the 5 tees for 25. We was hitting Patasco. Like, you know, give me a fake Marc Jacobs.
We have lived in that space. So like when I watch these documentaries of like WuTang and Biggie, I can relate to what they were feeling because I know what it feels like.
Nah, for sure.
Now, just because I may not have, like for me, the drug dealers around my neighborhood wouldn't let me do anything. They would just give me money. They would be like, Mark, here's $5. Don't come down this street. I don't want to see you over here. Don't come over here. Go that way. So I was like, well, shoot, they don't even want me to do it. I'm good. I'm good. I'll be straight. So, but I know what it feels like to feel like you're missing out on the world because financially you don't have the things that other people have. Like I went to school with people and they rocking Jordans and all types of stuff. And my mom was like, I don't have the money for that. I'm not buying it.
So you're not getting
it.
I didn't have all of the freshest gear.
No, I didn't have none of that.
And it's probably why I'm so like in the sneakers now.
Yeah.
Or as I got older was because like when I was in school, it was like you got this black pair of Air Force Ones and you got this white pair. You better make it work.
Figure it out.
Switch out laces.
I was a kid and you got to clean them every day after you wear them.
And then there was the joint where when you found out that Nike had that specific deal thing where like, so you know, you might pop a string or two and be like, yo, I only had these joints for like a week. You know, my string is popped. And they would switch them joints out for you. You know, so you found like little ways to get around being able to be fresh. And like I think once I started making the t-shirts by hand, I was like, oh, bet. Hey, just go we going to Patasco, get you 10. I'm going to give me 10. And we good for 2 weeks.
We get you some acrylic paint.
Exactly.
And like every 2 weeks, I just buy a pair of white Air Forces and be like, yo, you paint these joints.
And then my grandmother got the
heat press.
Got me the heat press joint. And when I got the heat press joint, it was like, real. Oh, it's about to be popping. We going to be fresh all the time.
Because like even now, like, I basically only wear Icon to be honest.
Yeah, if it's not Icon, it might be Goodfellow. Yeah, like it might be like plain stuff.
Yeah, it's plain stuff.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't wear anybody else's brand.
But I don't really be
like I'm Iconed out right now.
Yeah, you know
what I'm saying? Fresh.
Bang, bang.
That's how we do it. But you know what I'm saying? I know what they felt like.
Yeah,
because there were kids that were my age that were selling drugs. And they were buying the race car jackets. You remember when the race car jackets was hot?
Son, Charles used to stay with a
fresh Charles Thomas Steele.
Used to stay with a fresh race car joke. We used to stay with a fresh race car
joint. He had the Eminem joint.
Because the joint was the NASCAR joint.
Yeah,
the yellow, green, and blue joint. When he used to come to the school with that, I'd be like, yo, that joint is so fire. I can't afford it, but yo, I'm glad you rocking it because that joint looked tough.
He did always have a fresh
joint. He had a fresh joint, but the Budweiser joint, he stayed with a fresh joint.
And it wasn't until, I don't know who put me on to South Street in Philly. I don't know who put us on to that, but we used to go there and get the throwbacks.
Oh, yeah. Because I think it was one time that we went up there. I'm trying to remember who we saw. I want to say it was somebody from De La Soul. That we saw, like we just saw, like in passing.
We were there. We were all there.
That we saw, like in passing. I remember when we were up there. But just going to the different spots like that. So you do there, like you said, you can understand where something like not go through the same situation, but be connected and around people. Like I don't know what it is to not have a dad in my life because my dad has always been there, but I've been around people who don't have dads. Enough to go like, man, I know what that is.
What it feels like.
I could, and I know what it feels like based off of like what you're telling me. You're explaining your emotions to me. You know what I'm saying? So so I definitely think that those types of things. So watching the Biggie doc brought a lot of that up. Yeah, where you even saw as far as like with his pops and you know what I'm saying. Like you see all of those things and you be like, yo,
that Biggie story. Mm-hmm. That's my story.
Like when you see that joint, it's like, yo, that joint is kind of crazy.
Like my mom got pregnant with me and didn't know that my dad was married and his wife was pregnant.
Yeah, like, and that was that.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing in real life.
That really happened.
Yeah.
You know, and so like when I seen that, I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like,
but it's stuff that has never, and I think that was the plus about it is you never saw that in no other Biggie
Nah.
Doc. Like like when they went to Jamaica and showed
like,
that his uncle was his uncle, I was like, yo, that joint is crazy. Cause like that's like my family heritage and stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, that's wild.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's all you really need to make something great is to be able to relate to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And cause when you see that, you be like, man, that's wild.
Like even with United States versus Billie Holiday, it wasn't that I couldn't relate to the story. I know plenty of women that function like that.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And have been in those situations. Like,
have been in those situations. I felt like there just could have been a better way to
bring it across. Yeah, there could have been. I think that there was a better way to bring it across.
Yeah,
but of those joints that we watched, I think that was the Billie Holiday, and then the other joint that is tough is I think it's Hip Hop Undercover. I think that's what it's called. It's on Hulu.
I ain't seen that.
FX did it, and so FX did a joint where it was like talking about hip hop, but it was like, before there was hip hop, there was the streets. Yeah. So they focus on 4 key street people
that kind of brought the culture.
So it focuses on Big U.
Okay.
It focuses on Haitian Jack, Trick, and Deb Antony. And so some of the stuff I knew, and then Bimmy. So I had heard the name Bimmy, like listening to LL Cool J. Yeah. LL Cool J had said Bimmy's name. Bimmy was a part of the Supreme team, but Bimmy is also Deb's brother. Oh. So I've seen Dude before. I never knew that it was Deb's brother. And then so they went into about Deb, of course, she managed Nicki Minaj before she was Nicki Minaj. She managed Gucci, French Montana, all of them before they blew up. So it goes into that. Big U. I think I was telling you a little bit about the Big U joint and how him and Nipsey kind of had it out. But then they meshed and Nipsey hit him and was like, yo, I want you to come manage me. So, and then him and Corrupt had a relationship. So, Corrupt is the one who got him in once he got out and stuff. Trick on his relationship with Eminem and Proof. Yeah. And Trick is probably to me,
when people talk about the stories of you have to call him if you're a big star. Yeah. And I wouldn't have to call him to go to Detroit. Yeah. But if you're a big star and you get ready to come to Detroit, you better make sure you get on the phone with this man. Because if not, you could get everything taken from you when you arrive there.
Ask Young Bird. You remember they was passing that transformer chain around like it was nothing back in the day. He had to change his name. He heat maker now. Yeah. He not Young Bird no more.
He's going to.
But yeah, very much so. But yeah, Trick and Big U are the best. I like them the best because I always like tough guys that don't act tough. Yeah. The tough guys oh yeah. I just feel
we knew Suge did that and then that barber knocked him out. He was like, the whole time you could punch Suge in the face and knock him out.
So it's you watch Trick and Trick is telling stories. You would never think that he is who he is. Yeah. He tells the story about, he was I remember Eminem sent me this track and in the track, he mentioned my crew and then he say my name and he's telling the story, but he looks so giddy and so happy. Yeah. I'm yo, he said my name. And it's yo, you Trick. No.
You more famous than him.
You Trick in the city, you Trick. Yeah. But he was yo, so to see him not be on this rah-rah tough guy. And then same thing with Big U, to see him not be on this rah-rah tough guy thing. It's always a dope thing, but that's, I think, another one people should check out is the Hip Hop Undercover joint. That joint was tough. That joint was real tough.
That's the best thing that COVID did. And as far as slowing the world down. Yeah. And again, I always say, we know that people are going through financial things, health things, but I think it gave people a chance to just chill for a minute and experience different things, not from a standpoint of actually going to a place, but to watch something.
To be able to sit back and just be I'm gonna
observe.
And watch stuff that you might not like. There's some stuff I've watched that I probably wouldn't have normally just turned to.
Something else to do.
But now, definitely sitting and being able to be oh man, that's dope. Yeah. And it's so we had this talk where it's anytime we talk, it's this thing that we do. Yeah. Anytime, because our kids make fun of it.
Yeah, all the time.
Be
that's how they know who's on the phone.
They know who on the phone by the response when the phone, you know what I mean? So we had always talked about making it a segment. Yeah. Within I think over the last probably maybe 4 to 5 months. Yeah. I've noticed that we've talked more about movies and the stuff that we've been watching.
Stuff that we've been looking
so
at.
it's something that we may actually do where it's almost our version of like Siskel and Ebert's like thumbs up, thumbs down for different shows and different, movies and things that we watch. So we might incorporate that, you know what I mean, in some way. Yeah, and what we do. So yeah.
I think we should just have a movie segment.
We can. I'm with that.
I like really taking a lot of films.
Because I love watching movies.
We can make signs for it too.
Yeah. And majority of the reference, I make mad references. It'd be like, yo, like Denzel and Fallen. Like, and then people like, I ain't see that one. Yeah. Oh, all right. Let me find another one.
The Bone Collector.
Yo, like any Denzel Washington, like I said, if they like, yo, the toothbrush, and it's going to be Denzel Washington brushing his teeth, I'm watching it. Because he probably do that joint better than all of y'all.
Do it crazy.
Yeah, he brushes teeth crazy, son. You see how, you know what I'm saying? You see how he hit the molars?
That joint's crazy. Yeah, I'm definitely like real hype. I don't know what's coming. Oh, upcoming film.
Yep, I know which one you're about to say.
Godzilla
Yeah, because I was like, I know that's your joint. I know you can't wait till that joint.
Let me tell you how excited I am about that.
And then Michael B. Jordan has a joint coming out on Amazon on the 30th.
What is it called?
I do not know the name off the top of my head. But it looks like an action. It almost reminds me of like a Steven Seagal. Which joint was it in Steven Seagal where like his wife gets killed and he comes back with a vengeance.
Almost like John Wick.
Almost like that type of joint.
Okay.
Like it's an
I
action.
watch that.
It's an action type joint.
I watch that.
So yeah, with Michael B. Jordan. So I can't wait for that one to come out.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that one.
So I think those are the two.
Those are the two
biggest
ones that I'm really
off
like
the top right now. Yeah,
that Godzilla and King Kong.
Oh, and whatchamacallit wasn't bad. I watched Tom and Jerry.
Really?
Tom and Jerry wasn't bad.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, like for what Tom and Jerry was, like we sat. Michaela wanted to watch it, and I was like, yo, this show was actually
today.
Good.
Then,
yeah,
I like Tom and Jerry.
And then we watched Sonic too.
Sonic is dope.
Yeah, we watched Sonic too. Like
Sonic
Michaela
is super
turned
dope.
to Sonic, and I ended up sitting there. I'm like, I'm actually watching it. I'm like, oh, y'all gonna do a part 2?
Jim Carrey,
because Jim Carrey is just.
Let me tell you something.
They might be doing like we all over the place, but they might be doing Ace Ventura, another one.
Another one?
Yeah, but I don't know if he's
the
tied to
point?
it.
Okay.
I hope he is because I don't want to see nobody else.
Somebody played that.
But yeah, what you about to say?
They were, his dance scene in Sonic.
Yeah,
that was improv.
It
was not scripted.
But I could see that he's like the person where you give him a script and it's like he just does.
I'm just gonna do what I want.
I'm gonna just do what I do.
He was hilarious in Sonic.
Nah, so yeah, Sonic was good. Yeah. Tom and Jerry was another. Like Tom and Jerry was good. Like that joint was.
I'm gonna check that out today.
Yeah, watch that. That joint.
I'm gonna watch that today because I love Tom and Jerry.
It's almost
the
like
cartoon. I love Tom and Jerry.
It's almost like Roger Rabbit, like where it's the cartoons in real world. Yeah, it's like that. Yeah. So
I used to watch Tom and Jerry all the time.
Yeah. So y'all
because they didn't talk. Yeah. Like every now and then, Tom would talk, and I don't know if I ever heard Jerry talk.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like silent film to me.
But the movie they did it.
It
has like a good premise and stuff like that. Yeah, so check that.
Yeah. Take your time, all the time that you can, because I mean I don't feel like things are changing anytime soon. I hope so. Yeah. I mean I have hope for that. But take the time to check out some of the films that we watched.
Some of the docs.
We're gonna start having the yay or yeah or nah series because I was like yeah or nah series. Well, with the film, please go to patreon.com/Uhrise. Find out how to become a part of the university, man. We need y'all guys. You guys are very important to the things that we do. You can also go to uhrisemusic.com and check out some projects from me and Stitch. Go to Icon Nation.
Yes.
Get some gear. They got some new stuff up.
Some merch.
As you can see, the freshness continues. We thank y'all guys for tuning in with us. This has been the Stitch Sham Show. I am Sham Phoenix.
I'm Stitch Early.
We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Peace.